Okay, hey, we are on, Max. We're on, Max. We're on the air.
Sorry, I'm just checking my lottery ticket. I didn't win.
Okay.
I guess we're doing this for another week.
Shoot. Maybe one of these days. We can retire.
That's right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 49 of the SquadCast. We are here in the IKS Media bunker. No storm tonight, Max. We are probably going to be okay tonight.
Knock on wood, though. We said that last time. We're like, it's not going to be that bad. It was that bad.
Nearly died, I think. I think we were closer than we think to actually of being killed.
I had no hail damage, luckily, though.
None of us did. I think we all got off extremely lucky. My dad's roof got torn to shreds. The car got a bunch of dents in it. Yeah. We made out very luckily. I think we're good. Welcome, everybody, in. You guys are the squad. You're the Fanalists. Thanks for checking in. Again, this is episode 49. We are nearing that episode 50. We're nearing the one-year anniversary, Max. Can you believe it?
I hear that's significant.
If you make it to a year, I think that is a pretty decent sign.
If you make enough of them, they will watch.
They will watch.
Isn't that
anyways,
what Kevin Costner said?
Yeah, I think something like that. If you guys don't mind, we see you in the comments tonight. We see Donna Berger checking in, Katie Fleury, John Ohm. They're all checking in, saying hi. Haven't seen Janelle yet. We got Jamie Preston checking in. The Toronto Blue Jays are up 4-1 against the Yankees. Yes, we're going to be talking about that a little bit tonight. Thanks for the updates. Please keep us updated throughout the night if you don't mind as well. We both have our apps open and everything. We're checking the score, but throw the comments in for sure. We'll take them. And as always, throughout the night, please feel free to chime in. Send us your comments and ask us anything. Send us any questions you might have, any topics that you want us to talk about. We can get to them as well throughout the evening. You know what, Max? I did that all without a script. I did it pretty good. I got through most of it.
It's almost like after 48 of them, you're getting the hang of it.
40, yeah, exactly. And I'll do this without a script as well. We are presented by our good friends over at RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions. Roxanne and Darnell, we got the flamingos on set. Thank you to them for sure. They help us get through a lot, Max, and they can help you get through a lot, especially if your business is in need of some supplies, making sure that everything's expedited. And a whole lot of stuff. They can do a ton of stuff for you. Make sure that you're completely stocked up, maximum efficiency. They're your people. Roxdar.com. Give them a call. Give them a visit. They'd love to visit. I'll tell you that for free. We had on the show a couple weeks ago. If everybody watched that one, they love to visit. So, check them out. RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions. They're your people. Max, let's head into the top of the order here. And again, we did talk Jays. I got the jersey on. You're not Jaysed up today, but that's okay. You usually are.
Man.
You usually are.
I usually are.
Yeah. So you got your opening week
I was telling
stuff.
you before the show, I fought a losing battle.
Right.
With some garlic
maybe
butter.
tell the story. Quick.
Well, no, I saved it for you. But anyway, long story short, I got in a fight with some garlic butter, and my Bo Bichette jersey lost.
Yeah, so there's not safe for work, and then there's not safe for shirt. And
not safe for appetizer making.
You had some garlic bread that was not safe for shirt.
The garlic bread turned out fantastic, but I sacrificed my jersey in the process. I'm not going to say it was worth it.
Ruined or dry cleaning?
It's not. Let's just say our lights here at IKS Media would pick up the stain quite nicely.
You just need to get one of those not a sponsored Tide pens. Clean it right up.
Yeah,
I don't use those, so I don't know if they're any good.
This was kind of like the Leafs in Game 7 after losing 2 in a row. The damage was done.
Wow, you just had to go there. Hey, I'm done for tonight, Max.
All right, good stuff.
No,
let's
do it. Blue Jays, they're on a roll. Tonight they're up 4-1. We mentioned it already. There's the boys. They're happy. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., we'll talk about him later. He's on a roll, too. Now, they have won 8 of 9. Is that correct, Max? They have won 8 of their last 9 games.
Doubting the researcher or something?
With a big series underway currently in New York. Of course, tonight is game 2.
8 of 9, it doesn't feel like that, though, because they haven't made up a ton of ground in the standings, right?
That's the thing.
That's why you're doubting that. I completely understand it.
And that's the thing. We talked about it a little bit last week, is that even though they are playing pretty decent, it's like they're in quicksand. That was the connection that we made. It's like, they're doing pretty good, but the more they move, nothing happens, really.
It's starting to, though.
However,
it's starting to.
Yes.
I hear the Red Sox are down pretty big tonight.
That's good.
Big.
The Red Sox and the Yankees are the teams we need to start seeing lose games. The Mariners wouldn't hurt. The A's, if they can keep losing, great.
Just happens to help when you're playing one of the teams that you're catching.
Well, sure.
Double whammy.
At the end of the day, the Jays need to just control their own destiny and just keep winning and let the rest happen. But it doesn't hurt if the rest of the teams decide they want to lose a little bit too. But we're going to be talking about the Jays a whole lot more with our guest in our next segment. Craig Ballard is back. We're super pumped that Craig's back. He knows so much, and I just love letting him go. Give him a question.
Put it on the tee for him.
Oh, yeah.
Let him hit home runs.
Let him hit them. Like Marcus Semien. And we'll talk about him, too.
Yeah. Like the whole team.
Larry Walker, good old Canadian boy from, where is it in BC? Mission, BC?
I didn't look that up.
Well, you should have done that.
Oh, there's a picture.
What happened to your researching, Max?
Well, just get a little further in. You'll get some more tidbits and facts.
I will. He's being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame tonight after his class was postponed.
Not tonight. Wednesday.
Not tonight.
Read the research.
Wednesday. Ceremony takes place Wednesday, tomorrow. But this week, let's say that. Now, obviously, Larry Walker got inducted technically sort of last year. It got announced, but they've postponed it so they could actually have a ceremony and do the right thing there. He goes in with some guy named Derek Jeter, decent player. Might have heard of him, as you wrote down here, Max. A couple other guys. Walker, some great players.
Let me just say this: based on that picture, did you source that picture? Did Rolf?
Rolf would have. That's a classic.
It's a classic, but let's just say Larry Walker has aged well.
Oh yeah, no. And
compared to that picture,
I love the '90s style because everyone was just yoked.
You can tell that picture was taken in the '90s,
right?
Sure.
Yeah, no, everyone was just yoked, and they all had turtlenecks. Like turtlenecks was
and
the
the
thing
super
back in the
grainy filtering on all the pictures. Like that was natural before it was a filter.
I think Rolf added that as a filter.
I like it. It's a good picture.
Good job, Rolf. It was a good artistic choice. Anyways, he's going in. Fergie Jenkins as well. Am I reading that correctly? He's the next one since Fergie Jenkins.
Man.
I was like,
should
Fergie
I have
Jenkins
taken
is
that
in already.
point?
You know, I should have just read it instead of skipping it.
Yeah, you should have.
However, let's move on because Max is wearing the Rams gear tonight, and it is NFL kickoff week. We're all pumped about that.
Oh, yeah.
Later in the show, we're going to be doing our squad select. We're kicking it back off again. I've lost 2 seasons in a row of squad select. I'm 0 for 2. Max has
NHL, NFL.
Yeah, so I lost last year's NFL. I lost last year's NHL. Both years, I think I made it interesting, but still wasn't close.
We made it interesting.
We changed the rules a couple
times.
times.
We made it interesting.
Yeah,
sure.
Changed the rules a couple times.
Sure, Clark, you made it interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going to kick that off in segment 4 tonight. So at the end of the show tonight, we're going to do our week 1 NFL picks. We're going to have our battle pick. We're going to each pick 4 games, and we're going to start it tonight.
Very
we're going to be pumped about that. The season starts on Thursday with the Dallas Cowboys taking on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So we're super excited. Should I just read the thing? It's kickoff week in the NFL with the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's almost like the guy
Dallas
who writes
Cowboys.
it should talk.
Yeah, well, maybe you should host the show. You should read the start of the lineup, Max.
I'm just bugging.
But overall, Max, I mean, NFL is back. You got to be pretty excited.
Yeah, very excited, obviously. I mean, at the end of the day, there's just so many storylines headed into the year, right? I mean, Tampa Bay bringing back all 22 of the starters that were on their Super Bowl champion team. It's hard to bet against them. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, eager to avenge that Super Bowl loss. And, yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, that's just the 2 defending, reigning Super Bowl appearees. So obviously my Rams are in fantastic shape. Matt Stafford for MVP. I'm just going to start that chant right now, make some graphics, all that good stuff. But yeah, no, your Falcons, I mean, they're a team.
It's the race for the number 1 overall pick. It really is.
I mean,
yeah, I don't.
Really? Is it going to be that bad in Atlanta?
I don't have too high. I think I'm going to do the set my expectations low. And if they do good, great. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with them.
I feel like Matt Ryan in that division, though, will never be bad enough to get you to that number 1 overall pick. I don't mind him as a quarterback.
If you want to dive into it really quick, like super quick, the Saints don't have Drew Brees anymore. Nope. It's Jameis Winston.
And they don't have Michael Thomas.
The Panthers are leaning on Sam Darnold. And then Tom Brady, of course, with Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
so that's not going to be – I think there's going to be some competition there. But I guess like you said, like of all the four teams – maybe they could finish second. I don't see them being better than Tampa unless something crazy happens.
For sure. No,
but he's still got some weapons on offense. I don't think the offense was ever the problem.
I don't see them getting walked in that division, though. I think they'll finish 6-11.
Sure.
Which I don't necessarily know if that's going to be number 1 overall.
17 games. I got to get that in my head.
17 games. It's tough to actually.
I keep hearing people say it, and I'm like, that's
not. Wait, the math. No, wait.
Yeah, it's every time. Every time.
Right, every time.
But yeah, it'll be tough. Again, the offense was never the problem with Atlanta. And they got stronger with adding Kyle Pitts. They lost Julio. Let's not say they got stronger, but they have Calvin Ridley. They have Russell Gage, your boy.
Yeah,
that's a few guys.
My boy in one of my drafts. Yeah,
they shouldn't be terrible offensively. It's been the defense year after year after year. They just can't seem to do it. Anyways, enough with the Falcons. The Montreal Canadiens. This is big news, Max. They elect not to match Jesperi Kotkaniemi's offer sheet from the Carolina Hurricanes, and instead they've gone out and got Christian Dvorak from the Arizona Coyotes. Now, personally, I think that's a pretty decent little swap. If they're going to lose Kotkaniemi, they add Dvorak, who's a 4-year contract at $4.45, I believe, $million, which is less than Kotkaniemi's current deal, of course, for this 1 year. They gave up a first-round pick and a second-round pick in a few years from now in order to get him. So one last tidbit now is that Carolina has both the second overall selection, Andrei Svechnikov, and the third overall pick, which was Kotkaniemi from that 2018 draft. Good research, Max. Look, like Florida has the top 3 draft picks from that 2014 draft. I want to say Ekblad, Reinhart, and Bennett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're all on the same team now.
Wow. Yeah.
So there you go. Teams are loading up on draft years.
Teams are like, exactly. The scouts really like that one.
They really like that draft year. They just got to go out and get all the guys. Janelle's checking in. Hi, Janelle. Thank you for checking in tonight. We got to get stars figured out. She keeps bugging us every week about Facebook stars not being open.
I know. For whatever reason, they've made it really hard. It's like when you call into the tax center and they say you need form T11747AB/C.
And you're like,
we've never heard of that form in Canada.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
What is that?
So it's super complicated, Janelle, but since you ask, it is a tax thing, and Facebook asks for it. And we've asked
our bank can't even tell us,
bank, and they don't even know. Myron's checking in. I got you guys on one TV, Jay's on the other. Craig Ballard on TikTok live on my phone. I'm set for the next few hours.
Good stuff.
Myron, Craig Ballard's gonna swap out from the phone onto here in about 20 minutes time, 15 minutes time. So now you won't have to have as many things open. You can turn one off.
Save power.
Yeah, save a little bit of battery power for sure. This one's a big one, Max. We're going to have a lot of fun with this over the next few months.
Oh, yeah.
The NHL is back at the Olympics in terms of, well, hockey, I guess, of course. But the NHL is back. So we're excited about this because it is finally back to best on best format. I've made some videos about this in the past, but the 2018 Olympic roster is like the who's who of not who's who's. It was wild. Now with everything back, we can have all the roster debates. We can say this guy's better than this guy. This guy's better than this guy. China is in. China's going to be playing Canada in the round robin. So that's going to be wild. And a couple countries, it's always a good story with Latvia, Denmark, those countries when they get in. So it's going to be fun to see if they can pull off an upset and win a couple of games and maybe make a little bit of a run. Because it's always fun when those countries do good.
I like the Danes. Lars Eller, Nick Ehlers.
Freddie Anderson
in net.
Not terrible.
Those are
and
names.
Latvia's got a few guys, and Slovakia I think is in it again this year. They've got they've got a few guys, so you never know with those teams. You just never know. They could always do something. Now the thing is, Max, you said time to sharpen those pencils because we got to get some roster predictions. So I have my roster prediction. Do you want to edit on the fly if guys you'd rather see?
Oh, we're doing it now? I thought we were going
to,
stage this and
we could stage it on another time. You want to do it next week?
Well, I mean, it's still 6 months out.
Let's do it next week.
It's not like Herb Brooks trying to prep the old 1980 Miracle team. You don't need 6 months of prep for the. He only needed 1 day to pick the team.
That's true. What I will say is that it's going to be amazing to see Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Sidney Crosby on the same team, among others. But those 3 guys potentially on the same power play.
I think the only people
potentially on the same line.
Yeah, I think the only people in the world that are not excited about that are Team China.
Yeah.
We'll just call that spade a spade. And it's going to be an interesting match.
Oh man,
I'm going to take the over.
Whew.
Yeah.
Some notable names still without contracts in the NFL as we are getting
NHL.
closer. What did I say?
You said the
Devin Waller?
Devin Waller. Travarius Waller.
Inside joke. Hingleberry. So there's some NHL RFAs that are still out on the market that don't have contracts.
We could have ran with that, though. Todd Gurley's still without a contract.
There's
Adrian
a few.
Peterson's still
Le'Veon Bell just signed?
Le'Veon Bell just signed. So we could have ran with it. Sorry, I just had to bury it.
That's not what I was going to. I was going to be really awkward if I said, that star Elias Pettersson from the NFL doesn't have a contract.
I had to save you.
But some of the ones, obviously, Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, those guys don't have a contract. And I was actually talking to our friend, James. We don't have the jersey. Where's the jersey? Offside Hockey Talk. I was on with James the other night, and we were talking about Vancouver's scenario in terms of what they have available. They only have like $13 million open, and they got to sign both of these guys.
I got a buddy who's a Canucks fan. I've been saying the exact same thing. He says, I'm not worried about it.
Maybe they figure it out where they give them bridge deals or smaller deals to get it done. Yeah. But, man, they've pigeonholed themselves. And the one thing that me and James talked about was a couple of years ago, they signed all those guys to contracts. They just got rid of them all, and they're still
still in trouble.
They still don't have enough for everybody. Yeah. So Vancouver's in one. But a couple other names, maybe Brady Tkachuk. Yeah, Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa. This is an interesting one because Ottawa just gave Drake Batherson a 6-year deal, just under $5 million, a right winger, Drake Batherson. Brady Tkachuk is probably the captain of this team, at least in the future, and they haven't given this guy a contract yet. So, Max, you were kind of going off earlier before the show. How did Batherson get $5 million when they haven't even given Tkachuk his money? Now, just before you go off, Ottawa does this. This is what they do. They give guys bigger contracts than they deserve, and then the guys who deserve the money, they don't want to pay them. We saw it with Erik Karlsson. We saw it with a few guys in that era, and now we're seeing it with Brady Tkachuk. So, Drake Batherson, tell me about him. Why don't you like this?
What's there to tell? He has 53 points in 98 games. What are you giving out a guy? $5 million AAV. We just talked about Zach Hyman before the show. What's he getting? 5.5 in Edmonton?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that guy's got a lot more of an established career. I just don't see where the comparable is. Now, the funny thing about Ottawa, like you said, they extended Pierre Dorian today.
Yeah.
Not exactly the notification everybody wanted, I don't think, in Ottawaville.
Especially
but you know
a
what?
different Pierre who was probably knocking on the door. Pierre Maguire
No
probably
kidding.
wanted that job.
No
but
kidding.
Dorian, you have to give him credit. I mean, overall, he's built something that I think a lot of people are, getting at least
I think
optimistic
Eugene was
about.
just too cheap to find a replacement.
Well, that might be it too. Who knows? But I think personally, Ottawa's done a good job of putting themselves into a spot where they have a bunch of stuff, and now it's time to whittle it down. And maybe we talked about this before, where you've too many guys on your roster. You got to trade a bunch of guys for one guy. Maybe they can find some upgrades there, and I think that's where everyone's thinking maybe Jack Eichel to Ottawa type stuff. But you trade a bunch of guys for Jack Eichel, or you trade a bunch of guys for insert name here, but maybe that's where Ottawa's at. But I kind of agree with you, Drake Batherson. I think as of right now, I think they have him slotted in as their number one right wing with that Josh Norris, and they got to give Brady Tkachuk a contract in order for him to be on that line. But I think they have high hopes for Batherson, and maybe that's one of those contracts where 3-4 years from now we're like, dang, that's a really good contract. But he's got to prove it now. He's got to earn that that respect level in order for that to be a really good contract.
My thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And after 98 NHL games for Drake Batherson, I don't know about the guy personally. At the end of the day, obviously, he was pretty hyped. He was a 4th-round pick. I can't remember he played his junior hockey, but I want to say he was on Team Canada, the World Junior team.
He was, yeah.
A highly touted guy for a middle-round pick. And at the end of the day, like you said, he's currently the highest-paid guy in the forward group right now. Outside of Thomas Chabot, he's the highest paid guy on the team, and obviously soon to be taken over by Brady Tkachuk. They have $24 million in cap space, so I mean that's one of those things where it's not about the cap space. It's about, okay, what do you value Brady Tkachuk at? And he's the heart and soul guy of your team. He's the point production asset of your team. Drake Batherson, he had a really good end of the season last year.
Yeah,
I just
17 goals last season.
And speaking
points.
from a fan of a team that does this, right? You look at Matthias Ekholm in Nashville. He signed a 7 or 8 year at $3.75 million.
Nashville's the king
right?
of the long-term, smaller money contracts.
They are, and they've won out on a few of them, and then they acquire guys and give them way too much money to not perform anymore. Yeah. But regardless, with Drake Batherson, this is where I don't necessarily see where the AAV comes into it for me at $4.975 million. You'd think the guy would have at least 100. Going back to the old guard of the NHL, right? This is where it's funny, where you listen to some podcasts about former guys when they go on with Spittin' Chicklets or Missing Curfew and all these podcasts, and they say it's amazing with these young guys how they don't necessarily have to prove it anymore before they get their payday. Like I said, this guy's a half a point a game player who hasn't totally established himself quite yet on a team that, again, has not been very good since 2017. I agree with you entirely in terms of how Ottawa has kind of built. They've acquired a bunch of stuff, a bunch of assets.
They have a lot. And we talked about it with Colby Williams when he was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I said,
I would love to see him get a chance on this team.
I said to him, Colby, like, you're going to Ottawa right now. I think this was off air maybe, but I said, you're going to Ottawa. There's a lot of guys there. Maybe they don't have the super high end guys, but there's a lot of guys, and it's going to be, he's going to probably be in Belleville, but with the Belleville Senators, but there's just a log jam of a lot of different pieces in Ottawa right now, and I just don't know how eventually it's all going to settle down.
And like you said, I mean, you could essentially move piece in, piece X here, piece out there, whatever it is. But if you're Ottawa at the end of the day, I think they are going to take a step forward. You forget about the guys, like you said, Josh Norris, Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk will get signed. It's just a matter of what his AAV ends up being. Thomas Chabot on D, and your boy Nikita Zaitsev back there is the second highest paid guy still on the team. And then picking up Victor Mete as well. So it's an interesting team.
They got Eric Brandstrom. They've got a bunch of guys. Now, just a quick, this is a good perspective to bring up. Colin McAnulty's checking in. Ottawa Sens fan. So he says on the Erik Karlsson situation, Erik Karlsson was asking for over $10 million AAV, and everyone knows Eugene wasn't going to pay that price. Somehow Pierre Dorion didn't take the L after being essentially forced to trade the best player in Senators history. But that's what I'm getting at. He didn't
want to pay Karlsson when he was a stud. He's not going to want to pay Jack Eichel.
Well, true. But that's what I'm getting at with Ottawa, is that the guys who are on the team that deserve the money, they don't ever seem to want to actually pay those guys, but they'll dole out 4.9 for Batherson. They'll dole out 4.75 for Colin White, who's essentially a third line center now for them. They'll give those guys money, but they have trouble giving their captains and star players anything.
Yeah, so we'll deep dive them a little bit further. I mean, obviously, this has been a decent talk on them. Clip it. Send it, whatever you want to do.
Sure.
But I don't know, with Ottawa, it's just a very interesting situation. And as we saw the tweet that was put out today, Pierre Dorion says that they're coming for that next level. They're moving into the next zone. The rebuild is over. Well, might be a little early to say that. Just a little. I don't know. But again, we'll see what happens with Ottawa. It's a mere 2 weeks away from start of camp, so they got to deal with that situation soon. And I mean, Vancouver to me is the more fascinating one. Again, we'll deep dive them a little bit later.
Yeah.
But like you said, not enough cake to go around, and it just seemed like there was a little bit of mismanagement there 1 or 2 years early. But again, who could have predicted what those kids were going to do?
Speaking of Colin McAnulty, he's also a New York Jets fan. He chimed in earlier tonight and said,
Colin, tough go for you.
Do some over-unders, Clark. I'd hit the Jets under 6 if I could bet against my own team, LOL. So...
Zach Wilson's there. You'll be all right.
I'll tell you a quick story, and then we're going to break because Craig Ballard's coming in. I got invited to be in a Survivor elimination fundraiser for a hockey team fundraiser. And I went in there. I don't do those very often. I've done a couple in the past, but I don't do those Survivor eliminations a ton. So I was going through, and every week I was like, who do the Jets play? Who do the Falcons play? Who do the Jets, who do the Giants play? Because those are the teams I'm going after. And eventually you run out of teams that play those guys. So you have to pick those guys eventually, because you have to pick 17 or 18 different winners. So those are fun. They are a really interesting thing. Maybe we should work on something like that for
pretty good
some
SquadCast
stuff. Yeah.
Well, you are good at picking losers.
I'm good at picking. So yeah, I'll pick who's going to lose. You can. Yeah, we'll pick the other team. Anyways, that has been the top of the order. Tonight has been brought to you by our friends over at HoopLife Basketball. HoopLife is the #1 place to get your hoop game ready to go. They can help you out with apparel. First of all, we still got to get some more apparel from those guys.
Oh yeah,
they have some great stuff. Plus, they can get you if you use our promo code SQUAD10, you can get 10% off everything, including their camps and sessions. And their brand new facility, Max, is just about to open. They got their new grade 3 to 8 league starting up right away. That's all coming up. And I know you guys talked about it last week during the storm with Keegan, our new friend Keegan. But I'm excited to keep talking to those guys about it as it all develops, because it's a lot of fun stuff. They have a really easy-to-use app. Head over to HoopLife. Check it out on your app store. HoopLifeBasketball.com. All their information is there, so check it out. We're going to hit a break, and after the break, looks like we are heading into the bottom of the 7th, top of the 7th? Middle of the 7th. We're heading to the bottom of the 7th in New York as the Blue Jays have a 4-1 lead.
Was that Buck or Pat?
I don't know.
Who was that
I
one?
try to do a Buck. I can't do Buck. I try.
It's funny, though, because you can always tell with an impersonation. I'm guilty of this as well, but you always start with one guy in your mind, and then you try to morph it into something else midway through, and it's the hybrid.
Yeah.
And it's, for whatever reason, it just,
I think with Buck, you have to get super nasally, but I can never hit the right pitch, and I just can't do it.
And it's a dry. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. I wanted to turn it into Dan.
Get out, ball. I don't, that doesn't it. It's not it. It's terrible.
No.
Terrible. Maybe Craig has a good impression. We can check with Craig after the break.
Yeah.
But stick around. We'll be talking Blue Jays in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG. always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday HoopLife.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at roxdar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time. Big time.
All right, we are back. Welcome into the IKS studio bunkers. And speaking of IKS, we're about to hit up the IKS video chat. Hold on though, guys. I gotta butter this guy's toast. This garlic. I gotta garlic butter this guy's toast, Max. By the way,
Too soon.
Donna Berger says Dawn soap. I don't know. Dawn soap. You try it. You heard of Dawn soap, Max?
I have a lovely significant other. She hammered the Dawn soap on it.
You know, it takes oil off ducks, Max.
Well,
If there's ever an oil spill in a local pond, Dawn soap is the way to go.
Yeah, see, as much as the Ducks need help, so does my jersey right now. So I'm not too worried about them.
Poor number 11 Bo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some damage control on that.
Yeah.
But either way.
But our next guest does join us in the midst of one of the craziest emotional roller coasters in Toronto Blue Jays history. It feels like
There's been a few of them.
as the Jays sweep the A's, blow out the Yankees 8-0. Tonight they're winning 4-1. They chase one of the stars of the game, Garrett Cole, early. Apparently he motioned to the dugout to get out of the game. I think he was just.
I think that was a pride thing. I
think-
don't think he's actually hurt.
Conspiracy. Didn't want to run up his numbers in the Cy Young race. Conspiracy.
Didn't want the smoke.
Didn't want the
Didn't want
smoke.
it.
I know Craig was talking about that. We'll talk about him in a sec. But it is 4-1 as the Jays get into the bottom of the seventh here. I know Craig's been watching the whole game, so let's break it down with him. We all know this guy, Craig Ballard, Blue Jays analyst, TikTok stud, joins us. Craig, welcome back to the show. First off, I saw you were live on TikTok. How was that going, and how is the game going overall right now?
It was my first time doing a live, Clark, by myself. Remember the one you and I had, which I just had an absolute blast. That was the trade deadline, Major League Baseball trade deadline. And gentlemen, hello to both of you. Great to see both of you first and foremost. This is not the guest so nice, not once, not thrice. This is the third appearance for me. I've been blessed all three times. So first and foremost, thank you, gentlemen. Yes, I had an absolute ball doing the TikTok live. I'm going to be doing it for this entire Yankee series. And I keep joking, as especially if the Jays keep winning, I'm having so much fun because we're getting Ava, we're getting some Yankee fans in there, right? But it's an absolute blast being able to interact with the Blue Jay fans. And as you mentioned, Clark, is this a bit of a time to go ahead and have some fun interacting with the fans? I think things have been pretty jolly lately.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little earlier in the show, and just now I kind of read off what's been going on lately. They had to catch the A's, they sweep them. They have to catch the Yankees. So far, so good. They have to catch the Red Sox. Max said they might be losing a little bit recently. They have to catch. Well, they aren't going to catch the Rays, but if the Rays keep beating the Red Sox and Yankees, I'd be fine with that too.
Exactly.
But there's a lot that has to happen, Craig. But so far, the Jays have controlled their own destiny in the last 3 weeks pretty well, wouldn't you say?
The last time I was on was right after the trade deadline, and we waxed poetically. We had a lot of good things to say about the trade deadline, and we even expanded it to not just the trade deadline, the Simber, the
Corey Dickerson.
How am I having the
Jose Barrios,
the brain and what Dickerson, but Trevor Richards. I said, but that's a great haired reliever. How am I having a brain?
There was a lot of names, Craig.
We expanded it, and we talked a lot of, and we were excited about it. At the end of it, you gentlemen did ask, okay, Craig, hey, we had a lot of good things to say here. So has your stance changed on the playoffs for the 2021 Blue Jays? And I said, honestly, gentlemen, not yet, because the biggest thing that I need to see has not been on display at all. If I remember correctly, on that Tuesday, it was in the last 35 games the Jays had played against winning teams. They'd only won 12 of them. They were not rising to that occasion at all. And in your mind's eye, take your mind's eye back. You remember it was bullpen blow after bullpen blow. It was failing with runners in scoring position after failing with runners in scoring position. They were not rising to that occasion at all. And now in August and September, it's pure stretch run time. Yes, Minnesota's in there. Yes, Baltimore's in there. But Oakland's in there. They're ahead of you in the standings. Yankees ahead of you. Boston ahead of you. Tampa ahead of you. The White Sox ahead of you. It was going to be go time where you're going to need to turn it 180 on a dime against winning teams. Since that appearance on the SquadCast, Jays have played 18 games against winning teams. 13-5, gentlemen. 13-5. We needed that 180 against winning teams. We've seen it. The fact that they are winning games at Yankee Stadium, if I wasn't already bald, I might be pulling it out of sheer just stunned. The Blue Jays, this Yankee Stadium takes place in the original Yankee Stadium, took place of the original back in 2009. And the Jays never won at the original Yankee Stadium either, by the way. But this Yankee Stadium, your boy went back and did the math. Because if you're coming on the SquadCast, you don't come empty-handed. Your boy went back and did the math. Jays were 72 and 121. That's a 373 winning percentage at this Yankee Stadium. So not only do they not win series, they barely win games. If they hang on tonight, gentlemen, 6-2 so far this season at Yankee Stadium. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
And that's why we bring Craig here, for the numbers, for the research that Clark does not like to do. So appreciate the numbers there, Craig. Anyway, we'll talk to you in a minute.
Sorry, I think that was the sound of the bus driving over me as you threw me under it.
100%, as it deserves so.
Just before we move on.
Final time on the SquadCast, I guess.
Yes, before we move on, don't let me forget. I have some viewer questions later that I want to get to. So
fantastic.
We'll get to those. Max, go ahead.
13-5 since the SquadCast appearance, Craig. And I tell you what, as avid followers, obviously, of Ross Stripling this season, we're a big fan of the numbers and how the statistics correlate with the show. So, again, greatly appreciate that. But, I mean, we got a lot to dive in here tonight, man. I mean, it feels like forever ago that we talked in this short stretch of time in the season, right? Since the trade deadline to now all of a sudden on the home stretch with less than 30 games to go. But obviously what's dominated the headlines is not necessarily the focus on the field. It's going to be what the focus in the front office is going to be at the tail end of the season here, right? It's the Semien versus Ray. And I don't want to get into that too much. I know that you've addressed it on Twitter. And by the way, I like the take. But I guess the real question for me anyways is, Dodgers or Yankees, and if Rogers should pick one of those payrolls to match, and can they do it? Do you think it's something that's what they should do to go out and re-sign both of these guys, is get up there with the big boys? Now's the time. This is the window.
The funny thing is, if you believe in this sort of thing, there is an alternate universe where Rogers pays what they should pay. And these re-ups are already done, if you can believe it or not. If you're a Rogers customer, you already know you're not getting breaks on those bills, right? And how incredible it was in 2015 and 2016. So I don't get why the payroll is not a little bit more. Max and Clark, to be totally honest with you guys. So short answer, they should be in the market for both. What's the true, honest to God answer we know is that they will be in for one max. They won't be in for both. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And what really stood out to me is the recent reports that the Jays tried apparently already and weren't successful, but to re-up with Marcus Semien, that those talks have already taken place. For me, that raised more questions than answers. Now, oh my God, do I want to know more about that? What was the divide? Was it amount of years? Because Jay's hoping for 3 years, Semien hoping for more, 5, 6, 7. Was it money? Jay's looking at $20 million a year max. Semien looking more like 30. I want to know what that separation was. So the more I'm hearing, the more I just have even more questions about it. One thing I'll say that's changed about me in my time on the SquadCast is I was the first time on the SquadCast, you gentlemen remember, I was very nervous as the way I wondered about Marcus Semien. I wasn't quite a Marcus Semien believer, if you recall. His numbers in May were gaudy, just a video game in May, but everything outside of that was giving me cause for concern. Well, hasn't he turned that around? Aren't I a believer in this guy right now? So I absolutely think that the Jays should be in both sweepstakes. Will they be? I can't see it. And if it's going to be one or the other, the ace in the hole, or the under the radar is the way to put it. The under the radar thing, Max and Clark, that I see in a Robbie Ray contract negotiation re-up. He's going to be 29 coming in as he goes into his free agency years. Very similar to Zach Wheeler about a year and a half ago. And Zach Wheeler got 5 years, $118 million. So you got to figure Ray's going to be around 5 years, $125 million. If you're the Blue Jays, that's $25 million a year. That's even more than you gave Hyunjin Ryu. Or do you want to go that route? But if you're the Blue Jays, can you take the approach of sneaking in, at least for your own sanity, sneaking in this year's contract? So now instead of 5 years at $125 million, you can look at it and say, yeah, but that first year was such a bargain. We ended up getting Robbie Ray 6 years at $132 million. Now it's more like $22 million a year. So if it's one or the other, I think it's way more going to be in Ray's favor. That's why I'm blown away by the report that they've already tried to re-up with Semien.
Yeah, and very interesting on both fronts. Obviously, both integral members of what we've seen of this team right now that's just staying above about that 11 to 12 games above 500. And reading an article recently saying that this might be the time, this has to be the opportunity that you capitalize on with both of these guys in tow. Because like you said, Craig, getting both of them back under the payroll scheme of Rogers is going to be tough to do. But since you mentioned it, Robbie Ray, the race for the Cy Young seems to be tighter than his pants these days. So when it comes to...
Wow.
Good one, hey?
He's not wrong.
Look at that. I stayed up all night thinking of that line.
At Ray's Pants or whatever it is.
At Robbie Ray's Pants, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a good Twitter follow. But the way that he's pitching, obviously, I mean, you see the graphics all over the place. Garrett Cole, who we saw leave the game earlier tonight. Lance Lynn, who I don't necessarily think has had the body of work. I really do think this is a Robbie Ray, Garrett Cole type of race. Do you think he's done enough for the individual honor? That might be an easy question, but ultimately, selfishly, as a fan, do you want him to? Because if he wins that award, that could mean a couple of million more dollars on the average annual value. What are your take in terms of Robbie Ray for the Cy Young?
Now, I do hear you there. Either way, Max, I think it's going to cost you for Robbie to be in the Robbie Ray business, period, whether it's first or second in the Cy Young voting. I think, Max, we can maybe even make a case that even as a Jay fan, you still want him to win the Cy Young because that's part of the Blue Jays bargaining chip with it. You couldn't have run quick enough from Arizona. Now here you've come to Toronto. Hey, the first time being exposed to the Blue Jay fans in Toronto as well. How'd that go? Did you enjoy that? How was the wearing the home run jacket? How was the standing? Oh, you did like that. Oh, sorry. What's that? Your agent's online too because you need to make plans to accept your Cy Young award as a Toronto Blue Jay. Oh, I actually think it could work in the Jays' favor to show him something like that. But I am thinking that it's going to be. I'm thinking more and more that it's going to be Robbie Ray. And one of the huge developments, guys, that's happened here is, yes, Ray's just been outstanding, and we're seeing a bit of separation. I was just blown away, stunned. You talked about that TikTok live tonight. I even mentioned this must be one of the worst moments in live history because my jaw was on the ground when they showed that Garrett Cole was coming out of that game tonight. 2 pitches before Cole came out of that game tonight, guys, he was at 100 miles per hour on the corner. He was sick with it, and all of a sudden he's out of the game. Wow, how much is that going to hurt his Cy Young? Will it be something going forward? Because this is starting to look like Rays to lose. And I say that because just from a voter, just from a human nature of the standpoint from these voters, August and September, known as the dog days of summer, the stretch run, a playoff run of any season, Robbie Ray, pitcher of the month in August. So that's on your mind. It's at least in the back of your mind. That got a lot of attention. And Robbie Ray, by the way, showing, just so you guys know, just so we're clear that wasn't a fluke, I'll go ahead and win the very first September Pitcher of the Week award as well. So all this publicity might sound trite. It might sound like just one thing or the other. But just from a mental standpoint from these voters, these are things that are going to stand out. Did Lance Lynn bring home that award? Garrett Cole? These pitchers were all in stretch runs. I see Robbie Ray getting the results. I see Robbie Ray getting the accolades. Do I need to take a deep dive into Robbie Ray's numbers in his season? Because if you do, that's going to go ahead and favor Robbie Ray.
100% all the way through, Craig. And again, I'm no doctor. I just play one on TV. But whatever the part of the brain is of just getting like the full scope of everything, that's why we appreciate having you on, because again, those factors that you mentioned, right? The Rogers Center crowd, the exclusive t-shirts that I think I got one in the mail, might have bid on that, but also too the Pete Walker effect. I mean, is there some sort of discount to stay with the pitching coach that has clearly but has played a part in the most successful part of his career?
I'm disappointed I didn't bring that up myself, Max. That's so brilliant. I love that point. Let's remember, baseball, the last, I'd say at least 3-4 off seasons, gentlemen. By the time spring training starts, you could practically make a team out of the whole. And Kirk just went deep, opposite field again, 5-1 pitches again, going with the pitch.
Turkey.
When Kirk goes with the pitch, my God, I'm so sorry, guys. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye.
Don't be sorry at all.
I'm so sorry. What were we even talking about?
I don't know.
Pete Walker discount. Is there any? Any at all whatsoever for Robbie Ray?
I'm so sorry.
Our friend Chris is here. Chris,
my point I was trying to make. Yeah,
dope.
sorry.
He says dope.
The point I was trying to make was talking about how slow the baseball free agency has been the last couple years. Let's remember, Robbie Ray and the Jays, right out of the gate, guys, right out of the gate, 1 year, $8 million. So how $8 million blew Robbie Ray out of the water? I significantly doubt it. So there must be the intangibles, and we know it wasn't the fan base. He hadn't been exposed to the Rogers Center fan yet. It was his relationship with Pete Walker. He could see, this is a guy that's going to get me back in the strike zone. 2017, my reputation around this league was, hey, have you seen this Robbie Ray guy? Wow, up-and-comer, watch out. His reputation has taken a dive because he's fallen way the hell out of the strike zone. All the mechanics, every part of his body's an independent contractor, has been. Now Pete Walker, now some Pete Walker goodness gets injected there, and we've seen the results. From your boy Chicken Strip, we've seen the results. From Jose Barrios, the last couple of starts, we've seen the results.
Now, one thing that we hypothetically came up with last show, it was at the end of the show. I think Myron did Myron come up with it, or did we just start talking about it?
I don't know. Myron comes up with a lot of good things. It wouldn't surprise me.
But it was the hypothetical of, if Pete Walker is blowing everybody away so much, and some team comes knocking and says, hey, we want you to be our manager. And Pete Walker says, well, I like Toronto. Toronto, if you make me your manager, I'll stay. Would you fire Charlie Montoyo to make Pete Walker your manager if that was the case?
Couldn't do that. No, I just think that the precedent it would set, I think it's a very interesting hypothetical, but the precedents that it would set. And I think Pete Walker, I thought you were going to go the route of maybe somebody offering him another pitching coaching job somewhere. He's very interesting, guys, because let's remember, you guys are fans that span all the sports. You guys already know, NHL, CFL, you name it. When a coach gets fired, here comes a new coach. What's coming right behind him? All the new coaches' guys, his whole coaching staff. Pete Walker has actually survived multiple regimes here. That's how reputable, is that the word?
Yeah.
That's the reputation he has. He's survived. Never seen that before. This guy's surviving multiple regimes. So I say that to point out that the Blue Jays, the organization itself, I think he probably feels beholden to the Blue Jays organization. So I can't see him ever putting the Jays in that situation where they'd have to move on from Montoyo. I think it's an interesting, and I do think it's interesting. Pete Walker strikes me as one of those guys. Again, you guys are football fans. How many times do we see the head coach that gets made the head coach because he was a brilliant offensive coordinator, but now he's in charge of all of it, and now there's a problem. He's a brilliant defensive coordinator, becomes a head coach. Now he's in charge of all of it. Now there's a problem. I see that could be similar to Pete Walker. He may not have the answers for the offense that you would want from a manager. So he may not, on the surface, may not be as good an actual manager as we think. And by the way, gentlemen, let's just go ahead and have him nice and cozy where he is right now, shall we?
I agree. But that was what we said, actually, that came up.
I was going to say, so I'm just going to take the plug that's in Craig's brain, disconnect it from Clark's, because that might have been word for word exactly.
That was very close. And I think the Josh McDaniels effect to the Patriots offensive coordinator for years, he was the next guy. He was the next guy. And then he goes to Denver.
Matt Patricia
Not
with
good.
Detroit.
Matt Patricia, another guy. Like, it happens so much in football. But let's get back to the Jays that we talked. You just mentioned Kirk hit a home run. Max's boy, you love Alejandro Kirk.
I love Alejandro Kirk.
We've been talking for weeks now, me and Max here on the show, of the 3 catchers that the Jays have. I think we talked about it maybe even last time a little bit. But Jansen just comes back. He has a monster game the other night. But the 3 of them have been rotating all season long and doing a pretty darn good job of it. They've come up clutch. They've been hitting some balls, too. Like, we talked early in the year about how the catchers, I think, Chris, actually, you said it, and we've used your quote, Chris, several times. Any offense you can get from a catcher is a cherry on top. It's gravy. So the fact that the 3 of them are doing okay, just talk about maybe the impact that these catchers have had on the Blue Jays, especially during this stretch.
Very impressive. And guys, this may come out of left field for you. That this may prevent me earning being blessed with a 4th, because I'm going to go way outside the box here, guys. But I just think for me, this is, at the very least, if I'm the Blue Jays, I'm exploring what I'm about to say here. I'm shopping all 3 catchers in the offseason. Yeah. I think all 3 of them are at sell high points. I'm looking to address third base by shopping all 3 of these catchers. My plan for next year's catcher, whoever of the 3 remains standing, and I'm not giving these guys away, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about I want to be happy with that return prospect, and that's why I say at the very least, a return asset, at the very least, if I'm the Blue Jays, I want to explore this. Let me see what the market is for all 3 of these catchers. Alejandro Kirk as a centerpiece of a Jose Ramirez trade might be something I'm extremely interested in, even though I love Kirk as well. And then my plan for the catcher going forward, whoever's the 3rd one left, when the dust settles, whoever's left standing, I bring in a veteran catcher as well. It's just a placeholder season until Gabriel Moreno is ready to be my everyday catcher in 2023 going forward. So I actually view the catcher spot, I think, a little differently than maybe a lot of Jays fans. I would be, to your guys' point, hey, look how well the catchers have been doing. I would be using that to see if I can sell at their highest point, because I just need a placeholder. I think I can get nice, exciting assets back, and I just need that placeholder until Gabriel Moreno's ready.
Craig, do you know what happened last time they traded one of their catchers? They got Brad Hand. I don't know.
Yes, you get another good move like that. Another good move like that. Yeah, exactly.
The DFA'd Brad Hand, by the way.
What's Riley Adams hit about
New
9
York
home
Mets
runs since he got traded?
And I told Max, I'm like, I like this Riley Adams.
You did. You've said it many times.
6'5" catchers don't come along very often. But you mentioned Jose Barrios about, 3 topics ago. You mentioned his name. Now, Jose Barrios, we've seen it. He has stuff. He has that elite stuff that you don't see very often. He's got that great bending curve. He's got that really good 2-seamer that runs in. He's got a great changeup. But he couldn't seem to settle in with any of it over his first 5 or 6 or whatever it is starts now. But last game, I think who was catching
2 starts in a row now. He's got it back.
Exactly.
Detroit,
2 starts in a row.
Yes.
He's looked real sharp, and we're finally seeing, I think, the Barrios that we wanted to see. If he starts turning it on, how much would you increase their playoff chances if he's turning it on? Ray's hot right now. You mentioned Steven Matz. You said he had a great August. Steven Matz is doing pretty decently right now. If all that's rolling, we got to say our chances get that much better.
Well, I'm loving. Oh my God, the Blue Jay pitching staff since the All-Star break has been wow. I'm talking about the starting pitching has been wow. Now you talk about Jose Barrios. Where did we mention him earlier on in the show when we were praising Pete Walker?
Yeah.
And I heard Max shout out, "Wait a minute! It's been 2 starts now that Barrios has been really good." No surprise, folks. Prior to that 2 starts ago that Max is talking about, Pete Walker and Barrios got together. Pete Walker sprinkled some of the magic dust. They made a change to his mechanics, a change to his delivery. I personally, when I saw the results in the first game, I thought that the results allowed Barrios to still have that movement that Clark is highlighting and loving, but stay in the strike zone. So I was surprised. I saw in a few different places people were talking about that, in fact, those changes, those tweaks that Walker and Barrios had to make were required because Barrios was tipping his pitches. Now, that really threw me for a loop because I did not see that at all. But for whatever reason, those changes needed to be made. You're exactly right, Clark. He was not consistent at all. That first start, he was good. That might have just been the adrenaline. Then he had 3 in a row where he was really bad and couldn't control the strike zone. Now, he and Pete Walker doing his thing, gets Barrios back in the strike zone. I wonder if Pete Walker should be the manager of this. Oh, sorry, I'm digressing. Sorry, I'm
just adding fuel to the fire.
Putting thoughts.
But the other thing I saw too, I think we talked about this a little bit, Max. But Danny Jansen, we saw him the day before Barrios' last start, and he was just in there going over notes and the batting lineup for the team that they're going to be seeing, and you could see them. They were really going at it. They were having a good conversation.
And who is the veteran most of the catcher group?
And it's Danny Jansen. So maybe he's the one you hold on to.
I don't know. We'll see.
But anyways, we've talked a lot about pitchers tonight, and the 3 pitchers we haven't talked about at all, and I think you're excited about seeing Julian Merriweather, Nate Pearson, and Jordan Romano. Those are our potential for, if we're watching Jays games, we could be seeing a lot of those guys down this last 30-game stretch or so. You got to be excited about that 300-mile-an-hour late inning combination.
My God. Guys, first of all, I'll float a quick theory, and I know it's wrong because I watched him pitch in Buffalo, but my theory I'm still going to put it out there. I think Julian Merriweather maybe just never left Yankee Stadium from that opening series. I think he's just been there.
He's been stuck there.
I'm going to stick with that. Something's up.
Maybe he fell down the stairs. Maybe he fell down the stairs.
Him and Manoah.
So maybe he's
trip.
the third Blue Jay pitcher to slip on stairs
Yeah.
this season. Oh, my God. The injuries this season.
Yeah. Oh, what a year.
You think I'm happy. Max must be on cloud 9 because I always go back to Max a few weeks back when you had Barry Davis on. Max talking about how Kansas City really perfected those 100 miles an hour coming out of the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Well, my gosh. Isn't that what this Jays bullpen can look like? I love Merriweather. I feel like I'm in the minority when I was excited when the Jays traded him for Donaldson. I agreed with Shapiro and Atkins. I thought he had huge upside to be a high leverage back to the bullpen guy. So I'm really excited about having him back. If there's one, and I think there's several, but if there's one area I know the 3 of us are united in Blue Jay talk, it's on, well, I think I'm pretty sure Max is on board, but I know Clark and I for sure are lockstep where the place for Nate Pearson is in this bullpen. The Jays, we talk about how good the pitching's been lately, how fun it's been lately. For me, honestly, I'm not even kidding. I've loved this Yankee game tonight, don't get me wrong. But as much fun as I've had over this winning streak, and it was in a blowout, it was in an 8-0 game, that 3-up, 3-down inning that Nate Pearson came in and pitched against the A's on Sunday. Loved seeing that from him. I think he has huge potential in that bullpen. And I was thinking about this earlier today because we know Shapiro and Atkins, they seem to be so hell-bent. The Jays organization seems to be so hell-bent on having Pearson in the starting rotation. Well, I wonder if the emergence of Alek Manoah, if they were looking for somebody to be a shot in the arm, some youth in that rotation, disappointed, trying to force feed Nate Pearson, maybe they see, oh, you know what, that guy can be Manoah, and maybe they commit a little bit more to Pearson in the bullpen because I really think he's got huge potential in the back of that bullpen. And I'm excited about getting Ryan Baracki back. He's a guy that hasn't had a good season. I get it. I just think he has big potential and could be a good lefty coming out of that bullpen on nights when Tim Mays is not available. Mays has been incredible, by the way.
Yeah, Mays has been great, and we always forget about Baracki. He's always that extra guy that we always forget to talk about. And it's crazy because every time, he does show that potential. But, Max, I think you wanted to...
Well, and again, just to bookend that, Craig, like it's funny, it's easy to forget some of the names when the laundry list of injuries has been so long this year. So, again, the sky's the limit for this team if they can get a little bit healthier. And, again, more stadiums, less stairs. That might be the solution for the Jays this year. But when it comes... And I can't believe this is the analogy I'm going to draw here, Craig. We're in the 3rd game of series in terms of your appearances on the show. We'll call it maybe the top or bottom of the 10th inning. Anyways, this is a clutch situation. And I can't believe we've made it this far without really mentioning him going back to our 3 appearances. But this last couple of weeks has been insane for this guy. I want him at the dish right now, and that's Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
I knew you were going to say him right from that description, Max. You nailed it.
He is on some kind of heater.
I'm on Gerard Dyson's team. I want Gerard Dyson at the plate. He's my guy.
Again, let's
he is at the plate right now.
Well, good stuff. But Lourdes deserves some credit here, and that's what I'm trying to get at. We have to talk with Craig about Lourdes, but with another RBI tonight, he's got 68 on the season. He's been hitting in the 7th, 8th hole some nights for most of the year to go along with 11 outfield assists. He's been doing it at the dish. He's been doing it at the field, albeit a couple errors, which in this game is going to happen. But in terms of just Lourdes's, I guess, value to this team, where he's been this year, can you just speak to it to some degree, just enjoying him in that back third of the batting order? What does his impact do, especially with George Springer out of the lineup? What does a hot Lourdes Gurriel Jr. bat mean for when you were about 3 games back in the division or the wild card race right now?
Well, I think it's a great call to give some love to Lourdes here, and you rhyme off those RBI stats. Every single one of those was needed. That's what has me so excited. They were all key, huge RBIs at massive spots in games. So the clutch aspect, Clutch gets talked a lot about in baseball. Who was it? I think it was Springer actually the other day even said, you know what, low key, Lourdes Gurriel is one of the best clutch, one of the most under the radar clutch hitters there is. And when you think about it, you take your mind's eye back when he's up in big spots. Wow. The first time I was on the SquadCast, we talked about what I really thought the main point of the or goal of the 2021 Blue Jays was the development of the core. And we went around and we said Vlad would give thumbs up, both thumbs up, Biggio thumbs down, darn. Kirk's been hurt, darn. Nate Pearson, darn. And Lourdes, we gave a darn. And that wasn't even that long ago, because Lourdes absolutely was not hitting to his potential. He comes from a whole family that was born to hit. Like, his whole family are just incredible hitters. His potential was always there as a hitter. He was very sloppy for so much of the season. He was very willing. What do we see when Vlad gets himself in trouble? He becomes willing to expand his strike zone. Lourdes was very sloppy, very undisciplined for so much of the season. You see this happen, guys, when you're sloppy and you get undisciplined for that first little while. Now you're trying to chase and catch up that batting average. You hammer home really bad habits. That really describes Lourdes Gurriel this season. Last month or so, to Max's point, different story. And Max said it. Greg, who's the guy we want up in a big spot? Who do the Toronto Blue Jays want to see striding to that on deck, into the batter's box, in a big moment? Vlad, Bo, Semyon, there's Teo, there's a usual cast of characters. But to Max's point, what if the situation's at the bottom of the lineup? Well, hello, Lourdes has been carrying that. If this Blue Jays lineup is going to get production from the bottom of that lineup, then God help the pitching staff, any opposing pitching staff going forward. Then it becomes every bit the potential that we thought it would become.
Yeah.
But I love shouting out Lourdes Gurriel. He has been sensational lately.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember growing up, Max, one of the things that, and Craig, I guess we're talking to both of you. One of the things I remember is that, like, you'd look at a lineup and you'd say, oh, this lineup has 3 or 4 20 home run guys. This lineup potentially and probably is going to have Vladdy at 40, Semyon, Bichette, Lourdes, potentially he's at 16 right now. He's close. George Springer, we'll see what he does for health. Grichuk has 21. Teoscar has 25. They have 7 guys who are 20 home run hitters. And not only that, Craig, but we watched the Yankees lineup. Gallo's hitting 199. Judge, now I'll give Judge credit. He's lightened up. But Stanton's like 230 or something like that. Like, a lot of those guys are low 200s, if anything, if even 200. These guys are all hitting 260, 270, 260, 291, 290, 277.
And yet we're still 3 games back of them.
I know. But that's just where I'm saying is, like, you have to be at least encouraged that this lineup seems to be doing their part this year, because in years past, it was always one thing or the other. And right now, it's almost like they're right there. They're right there.
And it's funny, the offense gets a lot of praise. And to your point, Clark, they're going to need to be very good down the stretch, because as we've mentioned, the starting pitching is doing their job. The starting pitching is coming through. We're seeing the bullpen short up a little bit more. Joakim Soria actually had a nice inning tonight against the Yankees. Here's Jordan, the fairly clean-shaven Jordan Romano, checking into the game. Yeah. So the pitching staff has developed so impressively and so importantly. So to your point, Clark, absolutely going to need the offense to do their thing going forward in September, no doubt about it. You say you have to like what you've seen this season. We all have to love the long balls. The hitting with runners in scoring position, I will maintain that is just absolutely so massive. Jays win tonight, but again did not hit well with runners in scoring position. Guys, what did we see? My point on this, Clark and Max, is what did we see in the 2 months prior to all this fun we've been having the last 5-6 days? That Jays offense scuffled, and it was home run or bust. Mm-hmm. And that's very dangerous to me. That's very concerning when you're not a one-trick wonder, but when that's all you have to rely on is the home runs. Because we've got 6 huge games coming up with Tampa, and are we just going to be out there out-homering Tampa and with that pitching staff left, right, and center? I really don't think so. So, again, coming down the stretch run, going to need that melt, absolutely. But it's ironic for me. I've got a little bit more confidence in the pitching staff these days, and that's simply because of the issues that have happened with runners in scoring position.
Well, what do we got, Craig? Left about 26 games, and that's exactly why you want to win the rest of them now, because you're going to need about 6 games of leeway when you deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. But I tell you what, man, the one thing I'm learning is that, you know what, we may have to talk about this in the offseason, but with how much we can talk, with how long we can talk, we might have to talk about a Jays cast of some sort.
Ooh, a Jays
in time
cast.
for next season, just with how much we enjoy your company and how
Love
in
it.
deep we can go with the Jays talk. But I have to finish with this for you. Clark threw out a hypothetical for you a little bit earlier in the program. I've got one for you, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but it's because I'm confident that you could probably nail this with your Jays fandom. You have an all-time Blue Jays 5-man starting rotation. Who are your all-time Jays 1 through 5 for your starting rotation?
I think Jesse Litch would be at the top of mine.
So Jesse Litch,
Dustin
Jesse
McGowan.
Litch. Yeah, Dustin McGowan. Oh,
Morogazzo,
Oh.
Dustin McGowan. No, sorry.
Esteban
I love
Loaiza.
Sorry,
question.
not JP Ricciardi area. Yeah.
No, I love that question, Max. Well, the captain is Roy Halladay, first and foremost. Just incredible. The assistant captain is Pat Hinkin. So now I got 2 workhorses who are going to give me 8 or 9 innings every time out and who are brilliant between the ears. Let's not forget, Roger Clemens was a 2-time Cy Young winner with the Toronto Blue Jays. So
Right.
Roger Clemens is in there as well. Boy, oh boy, do I want to go? Oh, Dave Steve. Oh my God. Dave Steve, for sure. One of the most underrated players in baseball history, let alone underrated Blue Jays history. And then for the 5th and final, I'll either go Jimmy Key or AJ Burnett. Let's go. Do I have a lefty in there? Let's get Jimmy Key in there to break up the righties. Good Lord, I love that stuff. Holy cow, Max, you got me excited on that one.
And you know what the funniest thing is I
Didn't
have
even
to wrap
break a
this
sweat.
up. Oh, not even a
Didn't
little
even
bit.
break a
No,
sweat.
that was I fully expecting that to take a little longer, but I love it. There's breakdown in there. But the reason I say that it's ironic about just your order and all great names deserving of it. Look at this season as a whole with the starting rotation, and not a single name in that rotation of Craig's anyways is making the all-time list, even though we've been treated to excellent starting
Yes.
pitching for the first time in a very, very long time. So I appreciate the answer, Craig. Thank you very much, my good man.
Yep. Now, as we wrap this up, it looks like the Jays are wrapping this one up too. So, Craig, I'm going to let you go watch the last couple outs here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we will hopefully be doing this again, maybe close to maybe a wild card clinching
Where's the wood to knock on? Where's the wood to knock on? Yeah.
there. So, anyways, Craig, thank you so much. We will chat again soon. Chris is knocking on wood over there too. We will talk again soon. Craig, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Gentlemen, you already know this was my pleasure. Take care, guys.
Absolutely. And of course, every time we have a video chat, we want to thank our good friends over at IKS Media, the palace that we sit in tonight, for helping us out with the video chats. Of course, IKS Media is your #1 destination for live event production, video screens, and so much more. Visit iksmedia.com. I should get the website right for more information. When we come back, we're going to head to the baseball diamonds once again because Chris Untereiner is popping in. Not only the baseball diamonds, Max, maybe a fishing boat or two.
Softball diamonds as well?
Softball diamonds as well, yes, for sure. So we will be right back in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday HoopLife.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time.
All right, we're back. Mics are hot. I got the director Jordan's in the back like, your mic is on. Okay, I get it. Sorry. Anyways, we are back. And anytime Chris Untereiner is here, Christopher C. Untereiner, we got to talk baseball, and we want to get the chat going. We started early. How's it going, Chris?
I'm not too bad. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay.
It's good to be back.
Oh, absolutely. The Jays, I think, is it wrapped? Yes. 5-1, confirmed. Final score, 5-1.
6 in a row.
6 in a row. 2 against the Yankees, 3 against
Big
the Athletics.
time.
I mean,
that's gonna help with that wild card push for sure.
Yes. Now, Chris, I was going to say, you're joining us in the midst of fall ball, and we're going to get to that. You're joining us in the midst of the Jays' crazy run, and we'll get to that. But you've also, we joked about it, you've also been out on the boat a little bit lately.
Yep.
With you and your lovely wife, Nikki.
Yep.
Where have you guys been getting to?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
All over the province.
Yeah.
Yeah. We finally pulled the trigger on a new boat at the beginning of the year, right over May Long, and we've been spending quite a bit of time on it. When I'm not on the field, I'm usually on the water.
Now, was that because your other one lit on fire in the middle of the lake?
No, that was not mine.
Oh, that was
big Brandon's.
Now, that's a story
Shout
for another
out Brandon.
episode.
Yeah, we'll bring him back on.
Yeah.
You'll have to ask him about that one.
Yes. I think we might have talked about it last time he was here, if I'm not mistaken.
Nolan Bracken was with us on that trip as well.
Yes.
So that's just another set of eyes that saw that whole
Now,
mess.
speaking of Nolan, I went to go watch your provincials, and you weren't there because you were out on a boat, I think, somewhere.
No, we were in BC.
Or where were you?
We
You
were
were in
on
BC.
our August trip. Yeah,
Right.
we had that booked before provincials. So
And the boys were able to hold off without you, and I think they pulled off quite the game. I was at the final. I wanted to see Mr. Dustin Mulligan throw a game.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because, I shouldn't be. It's Marysburg, and for those who aren't in Saskatchewan, Marysburg is like a town built for baseball.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
0 people live there, but then they get all the fans.
Yeah, they got all the fans. And I pitched against them, I'm going to say 4 years ago, whenever I got called up by you guys 3 or 4 years ago now.
Called up to the bigs.
Called up to the bigs. Every single guy just hits. They just hit. They're all good hitters. Anyways, that's a discussion for another day. How much of this Blue Jays madness have you been diving into? Because, man, has it been up and down and all over the place.
It's been tough to avoid, so you don't want to avoid it.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Exactly.
You know what? It's too bad because I find the Jays don't get enough attention when they're just coasting along, but then when they start playing really well, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, the Jays are a thing." Mm-hmm. It's like, why don't we just keep giving them love? Like, they've been consistent even when they haven't. They're obviously super streaky. They always have been. They'll win 5 and then they'll 6. Hopefully they don't go back the other way.
Keep it going.
It would be nice if they could maybe just lose 1 and then win another 3 or 4 and then be consistent. But like, all their players have been super consistent, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Vladdy had that little bit of a slump, but now he's a dude again.
He's a dude.
Marcus Semien hasn't stopped being a dude.
Yes.
Like, he might surpass Vlad by the end of the year in home runs.
That's what Max was saying.
Like 37.
Yeah.
And
Max actually,
going.
he claims that he
6
said
in
it.
6 games now.
Yes. Well, exactly. Max claims he said that Marcus Semien would lead the team in home runs before they even played a game. So if that happens, we have to find that clip and make that a thing.
They've just been consistent, and they're starting to get better performances on the mound. I don't know if anybody figured Robbie Ray was going to be. Tight Pants Robbie was going to do what he was going to do, but he's been unbelievable, and they're starting to get more consistency, and they're starting to get a little healthier, and they're starting to see that they can pull out those wins that they need. I think they're 2 games back of the Yankees now after tonight.
I have to double check,
because I think it was 3 going in,
yeah.
and obviously, that's
they're getting there.
1 game flip right there.
Speaking of Robbie Ray's pants, I'm a CC Sabathia pant kind of guy. Like I need some room in there. I can't have the tight pants. I remember when growing up, and this is going to sound weird to some of our maybe younger viewers, but 22 Fresh was like just coming out, and they had those looser legs, and I was like, this is wild. And now it's like it's not even the style anymore.
I don't know when that happened. All of a sudden, it was like this year. Everybody is wearing skin tight, we called them.
The socks are coming
quitters.
back. Yeah.
Or tweeners. But that's like the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand.
It was a comfy pant, and then all of a sudden, they're showing off their leg muscles again. I guess they started doing leg days again.
I guess so.
Not for me. What's Walker Buehler? Was he the guy?
Yeah, that was like a couple years ago even, so maybe he started it, I guess.
He started the trend. Chris, every single time you're here, I got to ask you catcher questions because you were my catcher growing up, and I never let you forget that. Sometimes you probably want to. But we saw.
You were.
I was
good.
Okay.
You were good.
I was okay. But we saw Danny Jansen come back recently, and we talked. You heard us talking about how he was, really getting into it with Jose Barrios in the dugout, and Hyunjin Ryu loves Danny Jansen, and the catcher-pitcher relationship is something that I feel like we talked about this last week. I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough in terms of a pitcher's comfort level. We talked about it. I experienced it going, and I said your name, but going from you to other guys with maybe a Team Sask or a different team, it just feels different. So, can you describe what a good catcher-pitcher relationship does for a quality outing, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, at this level, not talking like this level, meaning like youth ball.
Right. Yes.
Catcher-pitcher relationship is important more so in the receiving, like how a catcher is receiving the ball and making balls look like strikes and keeping strikes. But as you get older, unfortunately in college ball, you get the wrist guards with coaches calling all the pitches. So that it's really tough for a pitcher to get a feel for how a catcher is going to call a game because they never get an opportunity to. But of course, as you work your way up in levels, I mean, in the bigs, coaches aren't calling pitches. It's the catchers studying, and it's the catchers spending night after night after games, seeing what's going on before games. It's not only how they receive, it's not only how they communicate, but it's just understanding that, this dude at the plate is struggling with that low and away fastball. Let's pound it. Or, our pitcher is struggling up in the zone. What do I need to call to get him back on track without having to go out and having that mound meeting? Like, you can't have a mound meeting every time a pitcher struggles. You have to know kind of what that default pitch is that's going to get him back on track. All right. If he's struggling with that low and away slider, well, do they have to spike a fastball just to get back there? Or what's that nonverbal communication going to be, whether it's just pounding the mitt or just tapping the ground or maybe cussing them out. Some pitchers need to be babied and some pitchers need to be kicked in the backside. Yeah. And a good catcher knows that balance between, what they can get away with and, the guys that need to be babied along. We were talking about it just before. The offense is a bonus. Defense obviously plays. You got to be able to throw runners out and block and receive, but it's that communication directly between the pitcher and catcher and the pitching coach that is so crucial.
So we talked about the Jays a lot, obviously. Can you tell? Wearing a Jays jersey here, guys. If you're not watching, if you're listening to the podcast that Max has been uploading lately, thanks, Max. But Danny Jansen, we got Alejandro Kirk hit a big home run tonight. Shout out Kirky. And
two home runs tonight.
Two. And Reese McGuire, who's been putting up quietly a 270 average, but also, came in clutch for a few games as well. But they rotate pretty solidly. Like, it's a pretty good rotation between the three of those guys, or it has been at least. We'll see what these last 30 games are. As a catcher, I often view catchers similar to hockey goalies, but do you think that would you rather be an everyday catcher, or is there some real benefits to maybe taking a couple days off here and there?
Yeah, I mean, when you get into this time of year, when you think about this year especially, last year being as short as it was, there's a lot of catchers that didn't get that 162 game development. They played 60 or 80 games or whatever they played last year. Now you get into you're in game 120, 130, whatever we're in right now. You need those days off. Sure, you get into a groove offensively is usually where you get into the groove. Defensively and pitch calling and studying the game, you don't need to be in the game to be in the game, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's more of, that's where that DH, like I think Kirk DH tonight and McGuire was behind the dish.
Yeah.
At least it kept them, in the game.
Right.
Teams can really benefit when they can put their DH into catch and their catcher into DH, because then it keeps them in it.
Yeah.
But their legs are going to feel a little healthier the next day versus catching 3, 4, 5 games in a row. There's not many Yachty or Molinas in the game anymore that can catch, or Salvo Perez. Let's talk about Salvo.
Well, I think
who catches like 100.
Yeah, Pudge back in the day caught every
120,
game.
130, 140 games. Like, you just don't see it anymore. But that's because the guys just, they want to keep their players healthy.
Well, everything is so specialized in baseball,
Yep.
and look at pitchers. You don't see guys going 7, 8 innings. And,
No.
Craig mentioned we were talking about all-time Blue Jays pitching rotation, and Max, I think that's a meme because it got a bunch of comments too on our Facebook feed. But Roy Halladay and those types of guys, they give you 8 or 9 innings. I saw Robbie Ray go 8 innings a couple weeks ago, and I was like, whoa.
What happened?
We can still do that?
Yeah.
It never happens anymore.
You see complete games
yeah.
in those 7-inning doubleheaders now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
it. And even then, it's like, let's get to the 6th, and then let's put our closer
Yeah,
in.
you never know. See what happens.
Yeah.
But everything's so specialized. But speaking of that, being specialized, training, and you're in the business now.
Yep.
How different has training developed? I'm going to say, let's just stick with the catchers because I always love talking catchers. But how different is training now compared to, I'm going to say, when we grew up, when you were training yourself in your driveway, but things like that. Nowadays, you specify with some of the kids you coach. I see you running the catcher's gear, the catcher's sessions. How different is it now? How advanced is it now?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, each position is getting the love that each position deserves.
Right.
Catchers were always just like, okay, go catch bullpens, and that's your work.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if it's in the dirt, block it. It's like, okay, well, how?
Yeah.
Or you just always have like the outfield coach finished hitting fly balls, and now everybody's taking batting practice, and there's 1 or 2 coaches sitting around. Well, one of them's just going to go throw baseballs at the catchers and say, block a ball.
Yeah.
Now there's a catching coordinator, there's a catching coach. Everybody gets that attention. Second baseman get the attention that second baseman need, not just middle infielders. Everybody has that feel for each individual position. It was always hitters and pitchers. They got all the love. Now everybody gets it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's actually the skill itself or the mobility behind, being a catcher. Some kid might have great movement patterns, but he's very raw. Well, it's easier to work with because they know how to hinge at the hips, and they know how to get low in their crouch, and they know how to be explosive side to side. And then it's the other way around. Some kids just have this, they have the build for it, but they don't have the mobility. Well, we're not going to teach them how to throw a runner out until he can actually get into the crouch. So let's get in the weight room. Let's work on your mobility. Let's piece the puzzle together. Let's build it from the bottom and work its way up instead of just a general skill. I
remember, too, I joke a lot on this show that I didn't learn how to throw a changeup until I was in university because I won't say who it was, but I asked a coach, one of our coaches growing up, you know who he was, again, but I was like, how do you throw a changeup? And he's like, there's a couple different ways. I was like, okay, so how do I do
Which
it?
One?
Yes.
Which one?
So anyways, I never learned. But now, and this is just going back to the changes in development. I coached a couple of years, and it was mostly 15-year-old kids, bantam age kids, 14, 15. And they all had changeups. And I was like, what? You guys can all throw changeups? And they were all decent.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like that's in itself just one little tiny thing. I'm like, baseball's come a long way in this province. And speaking of that, one of the biggest developments I feel like has been in the last, let's say, decade, fall ball. And now fall ball is taking off right now. I saw your rosters. I was pretty pumped because I know most of the names because those are mostly my kids that I was coaching.
Yep.
So shout out to those guys. But tell me about the fall ball program that you're involved in and how cool I think it's the greatest thing.
Yeah, it just kind of every year it just keeps building. So about 4 or 5 years ago, it might even be 6 now, we started with just an 18U, or at the time it was called midget fall ball. We had 2 teams. We just kind of go against each other, play some scrimmage games, and then we had a couple contacts around the province. We'd just throw together games.
Right.
On a Thursday, we'd text somebody and say, hey, are you available on Saturday type of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like 2 or 3 years ago, again, maybe even longer. I don't even know where we are now. We started our Bantam fall ball, which is now our 15U fall ball, and it kind of it's expanded from there. So we now have 4 teams running. We've got 2 15U teams, so we call them 15U junior varsity, which is our 08s, little guys. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say they're my favorite group, but they might be my favorite group.
Flip it.
Yeah. And then our 15U varsity, which is our 07s.
The least favorite group. Hate those guys.
And then we've got an 18U junior varsity and then 18U varsity. So we match up against, now we've got a league. That's, I guess, the next development.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna,
So in the past, it was, again, hey, do you want to set up 2 or 3 weekends and then play some scrimmages and do whatever? And now we've got 6 programs over the 3 prairie provinces. So Winnipeg's involved, ourselves, Lloydminster, Saskatoon.
Nice.
Then we've got Medicine Hat and Edmonton.
Beauty.
So each weekend, so we're covering a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Each weekend, there's 2 host sites, essentially how it works. And 3 teams will go one way, 3 teams will go the other way, play, 3 or 4 games, depending on kind of how the schedule works out.
Yeah.
And we're running Game Changer, so we're running all the stats and everything online. We've got our lovely parent volunteers that are taking
great.
care of our Game Changer. So
Always good.
We're able to keep stats and standings, and it's year 1. We had our first weekend last weekend. We were up in Saskatoon and played some good competition and had our young guns playing against some of the older guys.
Do all 4 teams go to the same spot?
Mostly. So like this weekend we're in Regina. Winnipeg's coming to us as well as Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
So we'll have all of our 4 teams going. We use our 15U team and split them in the 15U bracket.
Okay.
So, we are undergunned and our young guys playing against some of the older groups, but it's good to see them play. Mm-hmm. And then our 07s match up nicely. And then we have our 18U that split that way. So depending on the program coming in and out, it sometimes we match up like age by age, and other times we're just kind of bouncing back and forth.
So again, one thing that does happen in the fall also is usually Team Sask really ramps up, and I know you're fairly involved with them as well. What's going on with them? Is there any big news coming from any big tournaments coming up for those guys?
Yeah, so Team Sask earlier, I guess it would have been earlier in August, ran a few ID camps for their 18U. So they're doing the scouting for their Canada Summer Games. Canada
that's
Cup.
coming up again.
Yeah, Canada Cup and all that stuff.
Yep.
Everything was pushed back a little bit.
Right.
So there's a couple of years that got lost for some of these kids just because there was no national tournaments. So just having those ID camps in Saskatoon and Regina gave the coaches a look at some of the players and just kind of see where they are. But there's 2 groups in Lethbridge last weekend. There was a 16U and then an 18U that were competing in a tournament there, and just kind of getting in front of the coaches and showing what they got. And
good.
It doesn't sound like there's much going on beyond kind of this weekend. The next big thing is going to be the Florida trip in the spring, by the sounds of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love those trips down south.
Yeah,
I remember a couple Arizona trips went pretty well.
Yeah.
So what's next at RBI? I know this is starting to get back into where you kind of get busier again, and it's not all 18U and 15U. It's a lot of 10 and under.
Yeah.
Those younger groups get busy again. So what's going on? What's next out at RBI?
So the next thing in line, so we've got our fall ball running until the middle of October, and then there's going to be about a week gap, and then our indoor programs start up right at the end of October, early November, as part of our Block 1 training sessions. We were hoping to release the schedule and start registration last week. We had to push it. We got our new website launched, and we're just making sure everything's linked up correctly. So a little bit of a delay getting that going, but yeah, we're going to be rolling in like 7 weeks. We'll be back inside. I don't want to say it, but it's going to be too cold to be outside in 7 weeks. So
darn it.
Yeah, we'll be rolling with our block programs, but we've got our 9 and under all-star program. We've got our 11U, 13U, 15U, 18U. We cover it all: weight training, hitting, pitching, fielding,
always
catching.
Spots open. Always check it out.
Yeah,
now that you got the
exactly.
website too, we can start sending people to your website.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
good.
same website name, just
Improved.
a much needed improvement. Yeah.
I have to get this in. This is very important. Max said that if I don't get it, he's going to get mad at me. So, all right, Chris, I'm going to read it.
Uh-oh.
All right, Chris, catcher of fish or catcher of baseballs? You can only pick one. Go. What would you rather do? Would you rather go fishing or would you rather be a catcher in baseball?
Oh, but I play third base now.
I
It's a
know.
tough one.
Let's say either.
Can I just
either
like
or.
field a
Okay,
baseball?
let's put a scenario. I'm going to put a scenario. A 3 day weekend fishing trip or provincials.
Oh man.
Out of town.
Provincials out of town.
And,
Where?
Unity, Saskatchewan.
Unity.
That's where my nephew played.
Where
in
am I fishing?
Unity. Buffalo Pound.
I'll go play baseball.
Okay, there you go. There you go, Max. Are you happy, Max?
Yeah, there you go. No, Buffalo Pound.
did?
Buffalo Pound is a great fishery too. Nothing
Hey, I
against
caught a fish
Buffalo
there
Pound.
this summer.
Yeah, well, we were in.
I don't fish.
We
I
were in a
caught one.
tournament there at the beginning of the
Oh, yeah?
year. Yeah, we finished 12.
Chris, you have to take me fishing.
Yeah.
Can you
I have
take
a
me
boat.
fishing?
I know a guy.
Amy caught a fish, so like maybe she would even come with
That's
us, and
true.
we could do with.
We won't take Roddy's old boat. It will blow up.
Yeah, we don't want any fires going
No
on.
fires.
We don't want any fires. So Max actually commented in and said, "Hey, first-time listener, long-time participator. Can you ask Chris if he prefers catching more, fish or baseballs? Love the show."
Yeah,
Thanks,
nice.
Max.
Who's this Max guy?
I don't know. I don't like him. I might ban him. Anyways, Chris, thanks for coming in. Anything else going on that you want to plug before we let you go?
No, just keep on rocking and go
Keep
Jays.
on rocking in the free world.
Go Jays.
Of course, this segment has been brought to you by RBI Baseball. Are you looking for a way to improve your skill? I get nervous when Chris is here and I do the read.
I'm not here. Earmuffs.
Are you looking for a way to improve your skills on the baseball diamond? Are your kids in need of some training, skill building, or private coaching? Well, RBI Baseball is the place for you. Now they have a new and improved website. Check out their Instagram, though. That's always fire. Or their Facebook page. At RBI, they rise above the rest. What is the website? I don't have it written down.
RBItraining.com.
Love it.
Don't forget about softball.
Writing it down. And softball. Softball, too. So, Chris, let's launch into a segment about softball.
All right.
Next time you're here. Actually, it'd be great. We should get one of your softball
Yes.
instructors here
Yes.
next time. That'd be good.
Absolutely.
Light bulb. All right, Chris, thanks for coming in. We'll talk
Appreciate it,
again in
guys.
a couple weeks.
All right, guys.
All right, we're going to talk NFL after the break. We got our squad select coming up where Max surely will get to an early lead against me after week 1. We'll see you in 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday HoopLife.
Is it time to take your event online? bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
All right, we're back. We are going to be talking NFL most of the rest of the way, but if you do have any questions or you want to talk about something, or if something is piquing your interest, please hit us up in the comments. I know we still got some faithful viewers left hanging around. Myron's here. He says, where can I get one of those SquadCast shirts? Which ones?
Well, you see, we got some news, Myron. We're going to tease it a little bit, but we can't exactly say.
Oh, Chris was wearing one.
Chris was wearing.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris was wearing the OG SquadCast shirt. But you know
Yeah.
what? I know a fella who might have a couple for a good guy named Myron. So
Yeah.
we'll get dialed that up. Clark, you can get the information after the show, and we'll get something figured out there for a good man, Myron.
But
Before
the reason Max is saying this because there might be something going on.
might be something.
And
in
until
the
that happens,
hopper.
until that hopper happens,
Good one. Good
maybe
alliteration.
we won't want to be giving out too many shirts. We'll talk about that
We'll
later.
see. We'll see. We'll see.
Good tease. Good tease.
Good tease.
Last picture. Myron
Well, the
says.
Washington Football Club did it. I mean,
I
what?
hate
Sorry?
the Washington Football
I
Club.
know you do.
Myron says the last pitcher to have 20 complete games in a season is.
20 complete games in a season.
I'll give you a hint. 1986.
For the Jays?
No, not for the Jays in general.
20 complete games.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Craig, where are
Like
you?
that
Can I
just
call
doesn't-
a friend? Can I call a friend? I bet you Craig Ballard knows.
Myron told me, so you can call Myron.
Oh, geez. I wouldn't even have a guess for 20
I'll tell
complete.
you.
Nolan Ryan.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Fernando Valenzuela
Guy was
for
on
the
fire back
Dodgers,
then. Yeah, the
right?
Dodgers, yeah.
Yes. I always liken him to Ryu just in terms of them. I remember
Yes.
watching like an ESPN 30
Very
for 30
similar.
type thing.
Yeah.
When you say the
Bigger
name,
guy.
I know exactly who he is, but
Yeah.
20 complete games.
20.
That is insane.
Unreal.
That's insane. That'll never be done. That'll
No.
never be done again.
Myron, text, send it in your comments. Send your shirt size right now.
Yep.
Send it to us. We'll figure something out for you. NFL, man. We got Squad Select. Super pumped. Squad Select 016 nightcap. I got we got the seltzers tonight. Mixed berry for me. You've got the Saskatoon berry lemon.
We got the sweet seltzers of the lemon Saskatoon berry. Jordan, can I get a zoom in here? Just kidding.
Oh.
We can't do that with these cameras.
Yeah, stop asking, Jordan.
Either way, we'll get a nice little-
Stop it. Yeah, we got.
Oh, sounds delicious.
Yes, so good. These seltzers. Oh, there's a zoom in. Look at Jordan.
Oh, hold on, Jordan. Let's stop covering the logo. Oh, pinky up.
So good. These seltzers are so refreshing, and luckily, our good friend, Mr. Chris Hubbard, dropped off a couple of cases the other day. I took a couple of cases of seltzers home. I was
going to say
I hogged them a little bit.
I was going to say I noticed that there wasn't exactly one left for me for my golf tournament this weekend.
There should be
but,
one up there. But
I already
anyways,
scoured. I think.
well, this is
Clark-
part of them, so one of them's up there at least. But anyways,
Oh, all right.
gotta love the seltzers.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, buddy.
The mixed berry is one of their newer flavors of it,
It's
and
fantastic.
I like all of them, but I do like
It's
the
mixed berry. It's kind of like the show. It's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed berry.
It's a mixed berry
yeah.
bag of delightfulness.
Myron says extra large, Max. So
Got him.
put one aside.
I think we should be okay there.
Colin McAnulty getting us back on track with the NFL talk. Speaking of over-unders, I see the Ravens are at 11 wins. I can't see them getting double digits in that tough AFC North. And we'll get to that in a sec because we are going to be going into our first Squad Select NFL matchup of the week, of the year, of the season. What are we talking about?
You're in good shape to start.
I'm going to lose. But this is how it works. If you guys don't remember, we go over the NFL schedule week by week, and we pick 4 games. We pick the winners. We don't worry too much about the spreads and stuff. I know we probably should get into that, but we pick
Possibly.
winners.
Depends if there's a partner on board. If anybody knows any gambling companies,
There you go.
Hey,
Is there any out there? I don't know. I've never heard of
I've
any.
never heard of them, but
But we pick 4 winners, straight winners, and then we pick a game of the week sort of deal, and it's our battle game. And I pick a team, Max picks a team. Whoever wins it wins that game.
we need to bring actual NFL authenticity into it, though, with a coin toss.
Oh, yeah, because
For
technically...
who gets the pick of the battle game, but typically we defer
Right.
to the loser, right? So
yeah, and
you
it's-
got to pick a lot of battle
As
games
of
last year.
now, it's I did pick a lot of the battle games. As of now, we're even. We're 0-0, so nobody's winning. But how do you want to do this, Max? Do you want
How
to
do
go
I
first?
want to do this?
So remember, whoever picks the first winner
do you
gets
have the
to pick
schedule in front of you?
the battle. I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Do you want me to go? I haven't really looked
So
yet.
here's the question for the battle game, because this could be an interesting one, and I think it's a good one. The actual kickoff of the season on Thursday night.
Oh, this.
Did we want to make that the initial battle game of the season?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So
we gotta flip my
Cowboys,
hat around
Buccaneers.
now for this one. It's a serious business.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's got to get those lights out of his
Stretch,
eyes.
get the calves, the glutes activated. Man,
Yeah.
these seltzers are good.
Good. So good. So you want to do Thursday for the battle game? So we'll do that first. You want to do that first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So am I picking a team first?
Well, you did lose the season last year. Yep.
I
Sure.
will pick Tampa at home.
Tampa at
Bay,
home.
And you can have the Cowboys.
I'll take the Cowboys. Did we
Okay.
say we wanted to throw the extra wrinkle in this year? I can't remember exactly
What
what
was
that
the extra wrinkle?
was.
Oh, like the score?
Picking the score for the kind of like what we did in hockey.
We did it for hockey, but hockey's feel like
Hockey
we're
was
gonna
hard.
just-
We didn't even get one.
No, we didn't get one, but in terms of there's less options in hockey than there is in football.
Maybe we should look at the spread and then pick a spread cover.
Right. Okay, let's do that next week because
We'll
we
do that
don't
next
we
week.
don't really
Just
have
winners for this one. It's the regular season for the NFL. It's preseason for us.
Preseason.
We're just getting it figured out.
Just getting started.
It's all
So
good.
Max, I guess then you get the first.
I get them boys.
game.
I get
no, but you get the first
Peterson's.
choice. Yeah, you get Rod
Dallas
Peterson's Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I get Tampa, but you get first game choice now.
I do get first game choice, and man, there's actually some pretty solid matchups in week 1 here.
Week one
we
is
said
full
that
of good
we're not allowed
matchups.
to pick like complete guarantees, correct? That is like, but again,
you know what?
everybody's 0-0
Last
right now,
year,
so.
that was the
the
stipulation.
Jags
because
won in week 1 last year.
The Jets were so bad last year. We said we stopped picking the Jets because it was boring. But
And the
let's go
Jags.
week 1 through 5. It's pretty open game.
Pretty open game.
Yeah.
I like that. Gives me
I think
a
so.
good advantage early on. Well, since we mentioned those New York Jets, I do like Zach Wilson.
Okay.
I'm not going to go in the upset, though, to start this. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold, Christian McCaffrey, fresh, Robbie Anderson. Man, I like the Carolina Panthers this year. They've rebuilt the defense this year. Matt Rule, I kind of believe in that team a little bit more. And like you said, in a tough division with your Atlanta Falcons. But with that being said, though, too, I think when you start with the Jets, I'm not too sure how many weeks after I'll pick the Panthers, but this seems like as good a week as any to pick the Carolina Panthers over the New York Jets.
I don't hate that. That's a decent little pick. And like you said, I told you before the show, I'm in a fundraiser, a survivor elimination fundraiser. And I looked at this week and I'm like, all the bad teams are playing the bad teams.
I was gonna
all
say,
the good teams
you
are
got
playing the
Jags
good
and
teams.
Texans.
So it's like, what do I do here? I'm going to take your boys. I'm going Rams over the Bears.
Sunday Night Football. Dang,
Yeah.
I was
So-
hoping they'd be there for 2 for me, but
No,
I like the pick.
I'm going right away to your boys. I'm
You're a
confident.
believer.
I like the Rams, and with the Bears quarterback questions right now, with they don't know who they're
The
going to
Red
go
Rifle.
with. I'm going to go
My
ahead
brother,
and say
Andy
the Rams.
Dalton.
Yeah, so you're up now. I took the Rams. Sorry.
That's all right. That's a good pick. If you pick them to
It
win,
is a good pick. I
It means
mean,
good things.
yeah.
It means good things.
Well, or is it? Because when I pick, it
Well,
goes
I was just going to say, that means bad things, actually. Never
Where's
mind.
Lane
You know what?
Ardell?
Can
Where
you
is
reverse
Lane?
your pick? You know what? This is, again, it's another one. But I got to go with the San Francisco 49ers over the Detroit Lions. I've been saying sorry, what season are we in now? Been saying all summer long that the Jared Goff move for Matt Stafford, this is going to be absolutely incredible for the LA Rams. Stafford going into a dynamic offense with Sean McVay, but now Jared Goff is going to have to prove that he can be the guy on a significantly weaker team. Sorry, Lions fans, it is what it is. I just don't think he can do it, especially against the San Francisco 49ers, who I know traditionally Jared Goff has really struggled against in the regular season. I got to go with the Niners.
Okay, that's a good pick.
George Kittle's back. Bose is back and healthy. Jimmy G.
Well, we talked to
Trey Lance is ready to roll.
How many injuries they had last year? We talked to Brian Snow about it several times about how just they were decimated, and now hopefully they have them all back.
Well, they're going to be at least healthy for week 1.
I'm going to go to the NFC North. I'm terrible with divisions. NFC
It's
North.
tough. It's tough in football.
Vikings, Bengals.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to
nailed
take Dalvin Cook and the Vikings to take the Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to have his coming out day later in the season. I'm going to say that Kirk Cousins, the vet, takes this one. I'll go Vikings over Bengals.
I like it. I don't mind that whatsoever. You know what? I like. I'm good friends with a Denver Broncos fan, commissioner of one of my fantasy football leagues.
Not
I
many,
happen to
but
have
the
Jerry
ones that
Jeudy.
are. Not many Broncos fans.
Not a ton
but
of Broncos.
the ones
I
that
happen to
are.
know actually a couple in this area. In
I
this
know a
neck
couple.
of the woods.
Yeah.
But
Rob Van Stone, friend of the show.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I happen to just think that Teddy Bridgewater is a little bit underrated, especially in this offense with Jerry Jeudy at the wideout. Cortland Sutton's healthy again. There's some name value there, at least in terms of targets with the offense, that the Broncos are not going to be plagued by the issues they had last year. I really think the Broncos are going to be in as one of the surprise teams if they can stay healthy. I really like them over Daniel Jones and the Giants, especially to open the week. I know the Giants are at home. I'm going to take the Broncos on the road, though.
Okay, interesting. I am going to go, the team I hate the most?
I sure do.
Chargers are against the Washington football team, and I'm
Why
going
do
to...
you hate them? It's Fitzmagic. It's Chase Young. It's Scary Terry McLaurin, man. What are you talking
That's
about?
true, and maybe
There's
I'm
some
making
good
a
players.
really bad decision
I
here,
like
but
Washington.
I'm going to go Chargers over Washington, and I'm going to stick to my guns because they just bug me, man.
I like that you made that pick.
Yeah.
I think Washington at home. Justin
They
Herbert's a fantastic quarterback.
Yeah, I know.
He had a great rookie
This-
season, record-setting rookie season.
This could be a bad pick, but
Could
I'm
be,
going
could be.
Chargers. I'm going Justin Herbert's magic over Fitz magic. How about that?
All right, that'll work. I don't mind that. So what are we on now? So that's 3 picks in the hole for me, 2
I've
for you.
made 3, so I got to have one more soon.
We're
Yeah.
getting to the skid, man. It's a battle of the Dirty Birds up there. Hey to start. Oh
Saw that
wow,
one.
Falcons, Eagles,
Cardinals
Ooh.
Titans is a good game.
Jags and Texans. My goodness, what a I'm glad that's the 11 a.m. slot in week 1.
Yeah, they're
'cause
not putting that on TV.
There's not a lot of games to not get up for to start
Yeah.
the NFL season. That might be one of them. Jeez, I don't really know where to go here
It
because,
is
like
Trevor
you said,
Lawrence's debut, though. There's something to that.
there's something to that. There definitely is. I'm just looking across the board here. Is Tua going to figure it out? Do I go Tua or Mac Jones for the Patriots?
A lot of tough matchups.
It's a tough matchup. I like the Patriots at home.
Okay.
I don't think the Patriots can have 2 bad years in a row. I don't think it's not good for Bill Belichick's legacy when he said he could do it without Tom, and now he's got his new prodigal son in Tom that he picked in the first round. But regardless, I kind of like the Patriots at home. Jacoby Myers on the wideout, got him in fantasy as well, so hoping for a good week there. And the Patriots are now going to have a little bit less issues in terms of the holdouts they had. I think Stephon Gilmore's out, but regardless, I believe the McCourty twins are back. Correct me if I'm wrong, Patriots fans. I've tried to keep up very good with this NFL offseason, but regardless, I think the Patriots are going to be one of those teams that you can look for as a possible resurging team. They're not going to win the division. That's the Buffalo Bills. But I think the Patriots could be resurging here, so I'll take the Pats in week 1.
Okay.
Adam Schultz, you'll love me for that, buddy.
Not bad. There's a couple of games I kind of want to go to. For the memes, I kind of want to...
For the memes.
I kind of want to pick the Falcons game for the memes.
Of course. And, man, don't do it to yourself. You
But
know.
somebody did put out a good point here in the comments, and I have the luxury of having a computer with comments.
That's all right. I didn't
Colin
need it last
McAnulty,
year.
Seattle goes to Indianapolis and will beat the Colts with Jason Eason at quarterback because Carson Wentz isn't
Carson Wentz
healthy.
is out. There's
So
no
I
Jacoby
will.
Brissett there
I'm going to take
anymore.
Colin's advice. Colin, this one's on you.
That's a
but
good
I'm going to
one.
go Seahawks over Colts.
I'm impressed with your picks,
You know what?
actually. I really am.
You haven't been taking track of this. I haven't been taking track. We got to write these down.
Well, that's what you got the computer for.
I'm
We already
aware
told you
now.
about
Yeah,
this.
usually you do it, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so
I'm just sitting here enjoying my drink.
let's recap. So the
Let's
battle
recap.
game,
Recap
I
the
picked
nightcap.
Tampa Bay. You had Dallas.
Yep.
Then it was...
I went
Sorry,
Panthers
I gotta
over
talk into the
Jets.
mic. You picked Panthers. What are your other picks?
My other picks?
Yeah.
I went Niners over Lions,
49ers. Yeah.
and then I took Pats over Dolphins.
Patriots. And then you have one more pick left.
I have one more left.
I picked, in no particular order, Seattle. I picked
The Chargers.
Vikings, the Chargers, And there was one more. Who did I pick, guys? Your boys.
Yeah, I took my Rams, yeah.
Okay, there we go. You're up.
Well,
Last
I
pick.
got to take the Bills here. I already talked about them.
Bills over
Josh
Steelers.
Allen, another MVP candidate.
Okay.
Got to take the Bills. I mean, the Steelers, I don't know what's going on with Ben Roethlisberger. It's his swan song. He's an older quarterback, and Josh Allen, fresh off that $258 million extension. Got to go with them Buffalo Bills.
Good pick, but that's going to be a good game.
It's gonna be a good
I do
game.
think it'll be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game.
The Steelers still have good receiving core.
Yeah.
Their defense is never
They just drafted
bad.
Najee Harris in the first round as
Good,
well,
yeah,
so
good
he's going
young
to be a
running
guy
back.
in their running game.
Should be fun. Okay, well, there you go. There's the recap. We got, I have Tampa Bay, Seattle, Vikings,
You
Chargers,
got
and
another
Rams.
pick yet?
And
You got another
no,
pick? Yeah, you picked last, so.
I have 4 picks already.
Yeah, I know that was a battle game where we each share that pick.
No, I have Tampa, right?
That's
battle
the
game.
battle
And then I
game.
have Seattle, Vikings, Chargers, and Rams.
Oh, okay.
You picked last.
Like I said, these seltzers are good. I can't
Seltzers
count
are
anymore.
good. The seltzers are good.
Seltzers are swimming.
So that's it for our week 1 squad select picks. Anything else you want to go over before we shut her down, Matt?
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I'm just very excited for this time of year. I was telling my buddies, like, obviously I don't know. We can talk about it. It's after dark technically in Saskatchewan now, but just the gambling side of things right now, responsibly, of course. Has to be responsibly, but putting a few bucks down on some parlays. You got baseball, you got football. There's some really good golf tournaments coming up with the Ryder Cup. Oh, it's a good time, and then hockey is just right around the corner. They say that winter's always a bit of a depressing time for most folks, and when the Preds aren't playing and the Rams aren't playing, that might be true for myself. I like to just enjoy the fact that there's a lot of really good sports on.
Yeah.
As the days get colder, it's perfect. Sit in the house, get nice and cozy, and just enjoy that sports are back in their full capacity.
Absolutely. One thing we should say before we go, Chad Isaac is all over me right now. Shout out to Chad. He's not happy that I picked against the Bengals. The Bengals are his team. He likes the Bengals. But he's also asking, TJ Watt may not be playing in the Steelers game. So
Yeah, he might hold out.
If that's the case, you might have a real good chance in that one. And then,
I still got a really good chance.
Well, just added to it.
Oh, it did, yeah.
But then Colin McAnulty agrees. Is TJ Watt even going to play for the Steelers week 1? Not sure.
Yep.
So
it's a big
anyways,
question mark.
yeah. So that's a
question
good
mark.
point for both of us. I got the Seahawks maybe taking on a team with a rookie quarterback.
I like that pick. That's
And,
a great pick, and I totally forgot about
Appreciate that from Colin though.
Yeah.
Colin come through in the clutch.
I tell
on
you
that
what, I
one.
hope Jonathan Taylor runs for about 200 yards because he was my first round pick in my fantasy
might
draft
happen
this year. So
very well might happen.
Very well could happen.
Anyways, Max, I think that's going to do it here. So for the next looking ahead, the Rod Peterson show is in Calgary for the next couple of days.
Right on.
So tomorrow, our buddy Jim Lang is going to be on.
Oh, good get.
Max wanted Jim Lang tonight, but he's
got to
going to be
defer
on.
to the boys upstairs.
He's going to be on
well,
Rod's
got to
show
defer
tomorrow.
to the boys over.
Yeah, well,
West.
West. But we will have Jim Lang on this program.
This
soon.
program.
Yeah.
Nick Saban.
And,
Good stuff.
Now, here's a fun one. For those who have been paying attention to Rod's show, Danny Austin is going to be on. Now, Danny Austin is a Stampeders reporter, Flames reporter, and him and Rod got in a bit of a Twitter tiff a couple weeks ago. And it drew some
You know what they
interesting
say?
comments.
Controversy brings in views.
Yeah. Now, they ended off respectfully.
say that.
They did kind of,
Agree
bury
to
the
disagree?
hatchet. No, they buried the hatchet a little bit. And Danny's going to come on the show tomorrow. So it'll be fun. It should be an interesting one. Danny is a good guy. And they talked about it. They figured it out. So that's fine. And next week on this program, I'm not too sure where we're going.
Hailing again. I have PTSD from last week.
Yeah, it is. It's ticking around in here. So
it's ticking. It's not
next
talking,
week
though.
is program number 50 for us. I keep saying program.
I know, it's Nick
now I
Saban.
can't
It's fun.
stop.
I love it. Yeah.
Episode 50. Now, technically, the milestone is 52 because it's a year.
That's a 1 year.
So
we're just celebrating twice.
We're just
going
to have fun for number 50.
Exactly.
We might have a guest that returns, but I'm going to have to check on some availability because right now I notice it's kind of vacation time for a lot of people in the sports world before hockey starts back up again. So the one you asked me for, I'm going to have to text him and see what he's up to because last time I checked, I think he was at his hometown. In Nova Scotia.
I just watched a feature with him today talking some NFL.
Oh, so he's
I don't
back?
know if it was today or yesterday, but they referenced that the time off was had. He's looking good. He is looking very good. If you happen to be tuning in, good sir, that I hope to join us.
We'll say it. Kenneth Reed.
Would absolutely love Ken.
Might be
Reed
trying to
join us
get Ken
for
on next
episode
week for a
50.
chat. But anyways, that's going to do it for us.
Send him the clip. This is the request.
Ken, can
Kenny?
you come on next week?
We would greatly appreciate. We got a lot to talk about, Ken.
Do you think he'd come on if I say Ken? Can you come on next week, Ken? Please, Ken. But anyways, yeah.
Please,
hopefully,
Ken, can I have some more?
we talk to Ken
appearance
soon,
on the
or
SquadCast?
if he's not available, somebody else. But we will talk to you guys again.
It's next man up mentality. That's
Right.
that's the way it's. He would respect that. Pucks in
Yeah,
deep.
you're right. Pucks
know?
in deep. Got to get the next guy in there.
Yep.
But anyways, we will chat. Cheers to everybody. Enjoy a good Original 16 hard seltzer if you don't mind.
They go down great at any time of evening, any evening.
so good.
But
It's like
especially
the
this time.
perfect anytime drink. But
You
anyways,
know what? We should actually run a contest with that.
shout out to anybody listening. We might be running a
I think
contest
we might
soon.
get creative.
Yeah.
Might get a little creative.
Might be having an Original 16 Great Western Brewing Company contest very soon.
Yep.
Stay tuned for that. For Director Jordan and Engineer Rolf in the back room,
I still like
thank you so
Assistant
much
too.
for hanging out tonight. We are, what's that?
I said I still like assistant to the
Yeah.
regional director. It's just, Rolf, you like The Office, don't you? Bang 3 times if you like The Office. Oh, there we go.
And there's a
See?
character in The Office named Rolf.
There is.
So-
But that's not Dwight, but
It's Dwight's buddy.
that's right. But it's the position that matters. It's the
Yeah.
title. Assistant to the regional director sounds fantastic.
It does sound pretty good. But anyways, from the basement of the IKS bunker, I'm producer Clark. Mad Max is over here. We got the RoxDar Flamingos. Shout out to our friends over at RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions, IKS Media, HoopLife Basketball, Original 16 and Great Western Brewing Company. I still have producer Alan in here. That makes me sad.
Oh, it's so sad.
But
It's just like
anyways,
a tribute. It's a
RBI
tribute.
Baseball.
It's a weekly tribute.
Yeah. We will see you in 1 week. Bye for
Enjoy
now.
your week 1, everybody.